Hi, my name's Adel. I am a very big marathon enjoyer. It's gotten to the point where on Twitter.com or whatever the fuck it's called nowadays, I have the fact that I am a marathon enjoyer in my bio, and it is usually some form of a marathon quote as my Discord status. Uh, this video has literally no point. I'm kind of just here yapping into a microphone because I'm bored as shit. I'm like 6 beers in, so yeah. But I really fucking love Marathon. Marathon's one of my favorite series of all time. If not, I'd say I might go so far as to say it is my favorite game series of all time. Uh, Everything to do with Marathon I love. I love the writing, I love the aesthetic, and the gameplay especially. As far as boomer shooters go, it's one of the ones that's held up the most after fucking like 30 years or some shit. Uh, but yeah, 30 years. Wow. Happy 30th, 31st anniversary marathon. But uh, all of at the end of the day, I'm kind of here to just yap about the new marathon game and what I'm hoping for it to be like in terms of in comparison to the older games. As of recording this, it's 2:50 a.m. on the 12th of April 2025. So to later today is when the marathon gameplay reveal is. I don't know necessarily what that's going to entail. Uh, Considering it's a fucking extraction shooter, they could, and considering the track record of modern Bungie, it could go either way. But I want to be cautiously optimistic, but we'll see. Um, I'm first gonna just go through my opinion on the marathon series in general, then what I'm hoping is gonna happen for the new marathon game, and then essentially what I think is most likely gonna happen. Anyway, so the history of the marathon games, I got into it because I wanted boomer shooters, and so I'll be completely honest. When I was in like high school, middle school, I had a shit laptop and I had no money. So my only options for games were pirating shit or finding free games. Uh, I, for legal reasons, I have never pirated anything. I, I, piracy bad and all that shit. But I have played a lot of free to play games. I was like a TF2 stimmer and shit for a while. But one of the few games that was out was the Marathon trilogy, and it, of course, through the beautiful maintenance work of Aleph One and the Aleph One developers, it's free. So I managed to get into Marathon through that, and I played the absolute shit out of the Marathon trilogy, and it was a very, very good game. I mean, obviously the graphics and all that were on the because this is like what the fucking like somewhere between 12 and 16-year-old me just playing games. I was, this was during the peak of like Undertale and shit like that, and like OG Risk of Rain, and when it was when the indie game, it's like the indie game golden age. If sorry, I mean we're technically now in an indie game old golden age, but like the beginning of the indie game golden age, to say the least. Um, but yeah, the original Marathon trilogy was where I kind of got started with that. I played the fuck out of it, and I really enjoyed it. I read through the entire Bungie.org like breakdown of everything in terms of how Marathon actually is, because I could not be fucked to stop and read all the terminals. My Zoomer brain cannot comprehend sitting down and reading shit in a video game. But I thoroughly enjoyed Marathon, and I think the writing is some of the most complex yet beautiful writing of any video game series in history. Just the fact that you can have a linear progression campaign that switches into a multi-linear, basically time jumping fucking crazy storyline is kind of crazy. But I think it was executed very well. And I'm going to get to that later because that has something very important with the new marathon that I wish to elaborate on. But I'm a very, very big fan of the original Marathon series, and it is definitely one of my favorite games of all time. In terms of the new Marathon, though, I'm not necessarily. I want to say I'm not necessarily the most hopeful. I'll be completely honest, I'm one of the weird bunch who liked Marathon, never played Halo, and then got into Destiny. I skipped like apparently Bungie's like peak game, and now it's what, it's 2025. I've gone and replayed all the fucking Bungie Halo games. I know what they're like, but I'll be completely honest. After playing Destiny and after playing Marathon, I've just gone to Halo, and I thought this is just both of them but watered down. And I know I'm going to get hate for that, which is fine. And I understand that it was revolutionary for its time. It the same way how Marathon revolutionized PC shooters, but you could use your mouse to look around, because Marathon was like, I think it was the first game with mouse look and for a first person shooter. Halo did the same thing for consoles. It was like the first FPS that used one stick to move, one stick to look, and the environmental storytelling was something that was very similar to how Half-Life did it. And it was like one of the first games aside from Half-Life that kind of did that on consoles, and did it very well. But if we're breaking down the story is just Marathon but watered down. And yeah, but the gameplay did go on to Destiny. If you haven't played, it's very, very similar. But I digress. That's just my opinion. I As someone who skipped Halo initially and had to go back to play it after I played the fuck out of Destiny 2, I could say that Bungie, in the later half of Destiny 2, has significantly fallen off. I remember, in my opinion, the peak of Destiny 2 was definitely Season 7. I think that is when the game had a direction. That's when I was at its peak. Everything felt so good to play. The game was coherent and cohesive, and if you wanted to get a friend into the game, there was so much content to get into. And then Bungie went independent. And at the time, during the Destiny 2 independence, when Bungie split from Activision, a lot of people were like, oh, awesome, this is going to fix all the dog shit that's wrong with the game, all the horrible design decisions and the monetization. This is going to fix all of it. And in retrospect, we have no idea how fucking wrong we were. But this is 2018 maybe. I was I like 16 at the time? I don't remember. I can't really do math off the top of my head. When did Shadowkeep come out? But yeah, whenever Destiny 2 Shadowkeep came out, 2019. So I was like 16, 17. When Shadowkeep came out, that's when Bungie went fully independent and was back to self-publishing. And looking at it now, modern day me would have said this expansion is going to be dog shit, because Bungie, from after they put out Myth, or was it Myth 2? I forgot. But after the last time they published a game was when it was like under 50 guys in a studio in Chicago, if I remember correctly. I don't even think they moved to Washington until Microsoft acquired them, or they filed their Microsoft partnership. And Bungie, from then to after Halo, had completely transformed. It had gone from a funny little Mac game publisher to one of the most well-renowned and well-respected game developers in the world because of the Halo series. And then after Halo, they hit Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, all under the guise of Activision, and then splitting halfway through the game's life cycle. They kind of had no idea what the fuck they were doing. The last time they were an independent studio with no guidance on how to do anything was when they were that funny little Mac developer. And it really shows, considering that all of the design decisions they made after they split from Activision were potentially the worst they could have made. The seasonal model, where sunsetting the seasonal model completely fucked the game up. It basically made FOMO a game mechanic that nobody wanted to fucking deal with. Hey, look, what's it? Now in 2024, whenever the new DLC came out, they just reverted it because it was like, this was a fucking stupid decision. It was a bit too late for that because all the old gear got power crept out. But if it was going to happen anyway, there's no need to do that. That's not even going over the fact that they just removed half the game and it didn't give a direct reason as to why, and are just refusing to re-add it. I'm not even going to go over the fact that there was also the court case that they got sued for. I don't know what the fuck. It's some court case Bungie got involved in. And instead of showing off, because they had to show off some of the content that they had removed from the game. So instead of, booting up an older build of the game, they actually had to grab some dude's YouTube video to fucking show the content. So all the year one content, Red War, Warmind, all that shit's gone. We're never getting that back, which sucks because I paid for both DLCs and I paid for the base game, so I guess just fuck me in particular. But slightly biased, slightly salty. I don't think Modern Bungie is going to have Marathon down. They're under a new publisher now, they're under Sony, so there is some hope There is a management team that is very familiar with the gaming industry and the gaming environment and can tell Bungie, hey, no, this is a fucking stupid decision. Don't do this, because no one's been able to tell them no for a while, and it very, very obviously shows. But yeah, considering the track record of modern Bungie, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, or I'm not necessarily the most hopeful for Marathon, and that's for a couple of reasons. Now, the I'm on the topic of new Marathon. I'm gonna clarify some things real quick. I'm a huge fan of the original Marathon, and the original Marathon has a very specific atmosphere. The story and the art style and the entire vibe of the game is very, very, I want to say almost grimdark. If you look at a lot of the lore, the fact that humanity was basically starving throughout like the early expansion period, and how basically literally like a couple million people on Mars just died within 3 months because of mismanagement. That's just kind of grimdark, and how everything's like grody and falling apart all over the USC Marathon on its way to Tau Ceti. That's a pretty grimdark environment. In contrast to that, the new Marathon game is the complete opposite of that. It's bright, it's flashy, and it's clean, and it has one of the weirdest but most like visually, I want to say it's like it's just straight eye candy. It is just really flashy, and like it's very stimmy, but it's a really, really out there art style. And honestly, it is completely fucking different from the original Marathon trilogy's art style, but I fucking love it. I think it fits so well, and there's nothing like that out there. Personally, I would have preferred if that I like the art style, and I would love it to stay. Personally, would have preferred if it was like, more aligned towards an original IP, but I'm not even that mad. It looks so fucking good that if they can pull it off with the new Marathon game, hell yeah, fucking send it, bud. But really the number one thing that I'm quite concerned about when it comes to the new Marathon game is the fact that it's an extraction shooter. The original Marathon game was not an extraction shooter. It was a very narrative-based linear progression story, semi-linear progression story. Marathon Infinity kind of fucks with the linear stuff, but it, basic, generic first-person shooter campaign, all that kind of shit. It's gonna be hard. And Bungie actually is pretty decent at writing. I mean, the latest Destiny 2 seasons after the final shape have all been kind of just complete dog shit. But, I mean, they've had some bangers. Like, Destiny 2, the Witch Queen had really good writing. Same thing with the final shape. And the Ice Beyond Light was pretty good with writing as well. All the post-game shit with that was really well written. But, yeah, so the new Marathon game, I'm kind of hopeful that maybe, because, I mean, all the seasonal content, the slop that's come out after Final Shape has been dog shit. I'm pretty sure. I'm coping, but hoping they moved all their good writers to Marathon because of that. But the new game, I hope, can be written very well, but it's going to be very hard to express that writing in an extraction shooter. And it being an extraction shooter is one of the biggest issues I have with the game, because there's a bit of a paradox with extraction shooters. And I'm going to use two games for an example on this. You have Call of Duty DMZ as part of Call of Duty Warzone, released with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, not the good one, the new one. Which I say it's not the good one, the new one, but the new Modern Warfare 2 is one of the new COD games that I actually really enjoyed, surprisingly. But I'm not going to get into that. The new DMZ mode is one extraction shooter I'm going to use for comparison, and then Escape from Tarkov is the other. So DMZ has kind of died out, but Escape from Tarkov is still going strong. And my personal belief why that's happened is because Escape from Tarkov, there is a lot of risk and a lot of reward, and not in DMZ. There still can be, but way less so. But a lot of the reason because of that is Escape from Tarkov is a very entertaining game to watch. On YouTube, you have people who are good at the game doing all these stupid challenges, going in, dumpstering people, like running a fucking, I don't know, just doing like a 4-stack blicky build on factory, hoping to get a kill. Then you have DMZ, where you can kind of just pop in, show up, do some quests, and then dip. But the reason everything's died is because Escape from Tarkov grabs viewers. It's a very entertaining game to watch. It is funny. It is funny and really entertaining to watch people go in when there's so much at stake in a game. And with all this fancy gear, kits, all these really elaborate quests that you have to do, and there's a lot at stake, because fucking up can set you back quite a bit. And whether it's entertaining watching other people, fuck up and get set back a bit, whether that's the little sadist in you, being like, hey, that's funny as shit, or whether it's the other way around, where it's like watching other people get fucked up. Hey, I don't know what you like, but that seems to be very entertaining, and it's one of the main reasons why Escape from Tarkov caught on. But one of the big things you'll notice is the ratio from people who like watching Escape from Tarkov content to people who like playing Escape from Tarkov is very, very, very different. People love watching it, people love talking about it, and people love everything that happens to the game, but no one wants to play the fucking game. Because if you're going to get dumpstered by some sweat that does nothing but no life the game, you're just going to lose all your shit. You can't really progress as much as someone who, like if you're, the biggest demographic in terms of gamers is the casual gamer. It's the middle-aged dad who just put his kids to bed and can play for an hour or two before bed and before he has to go to work tomorrow. That's the average demographic for gamers. Escape from Tarkov doesn't count to that. The amount of quests you have to do, the amount of hundreds of hours of quests you have to do for you to even get, unlock certain guns that are decent, or unlock certain armor, or just the skill gap between the fucking, no life or sweats and you, that's basically unachievable if you're a casual player. On the other hand, you have Call of Duty DMZ, which is really, really, really casual. And to the point where, yeah, you could easily just jump in as a casual gamer, fuck around with some quests or not, and whatever. Because if you die, well, you have that one customizable weapon slot that's going to refresh by tomorrow. You could just jump right back in. And that is extremely casual, was very popular, actually. A lot of people played it, and a lot of people enjoyed it. But because it was so casual, it wasn't really entertaining to watch. It didn't really get much attention from the gaming environment. And as such, it completely fell off, which sucks because it was doing that quite well. But that's kind of the dilemma Marathon has, where you can make a game accessible, but not entertaining in the in like a marketing sense, or in a like a viewer, like an online marketing sense, as in like people watching on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. So you can make it casual, but not many people are going to be interested in it. Or you can make it really sweaty and hardcore, but no one's going to want to fucking play it. And that's the problem with extraction shooters. You can't really win with making one. It has to fit a very specific niche. And trying to make a widely marketed extraction shooter in this day and age is fucked up. It was the people who did the finals. There's people who make some other fucking big MMO are making this game called Arc Raiders, which everyone's like, what the fuck is this thing? This is kind of dog shit. That's not going that well. A lot of the new extraction shooters that are either way too casual or way too hardcore aren't really popping off that well. And it shows. The extraction shooter genre isn't like a battle royale. It's not, or it's not like the fucking like Steam games like Lethal Company or Repo or something like that. You can't just make one that has like a little quirk to it and expect people to play it. It has to be very well balanced because it attracts a very certain type of people. And I don't think Marathon is going to be able to do anything that's unique enough to get people to play it. I would love it to. I would love it to be a really quirky game that can get people to play it, because Marathon's my favorite like lore universe in the entire history of video games. But I don't really have faith, and I can't really think of anything that can make Marathon more interesting than like a generic extraction shooter can be. I'd love to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like if Bungie can think of something that's cool as shit that they can like just hold over my head and dangle me and get me enticed into the game, please do. I would love to get into an extraction shooter that has some weird shit that makes it actually fun, but I'm not the most hopeful. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of the fact that it's an extraction shooter and it couldn't be really that good. When it comes to a Dream Marathon remaster, just if I was in control of Bungie, if I was God Emperor of the video games, I would basically just do a System Shock 1 Night Dive to style remake of the Marathon trilogy. That would be absolutely amazing. Maybe we'll throw a little voice acting in there as well. It'd be cool. But that's what I would do personally. But that's not going to happen because the extraction shooters are the marketable plushies of the video game industry. They're just like They're the hot thing. They're the farmable thing. It's whatever the executives think are gonna make them the most fucking money when they actually don't understand what the fuck they're doing. But I digress. Another thing I want to talk about in terms of of Marathon is the story. I am a very big fan of the Marathon lore. I am way too into this shit because Marathon's like my autistic STEM interest. But I personally think that the new Marathon, there are two ways it can go. Um, the way it's probably gonna go, and the way I hope it doesn't go, because it's the easy way out, is it's a complete rewrite of the original Marathon, like just retcon, new like Doom 2016 over the classic Doom, just complete rewrite. That is the laziest way to do it, and I really hope that's not the fucking case, because the original Marathon trilogy, if we're counting Infinity, has the perfect place to fit this kind of game in there. So if you're not familiar with Marathon lore, and you have like 2 hours to kill, or like an hour and a half to kill, I'd highly recommend watching Mandalore Gaming's videos on Marathon. He kind of goes through the entire story and a comprehensive review of the games. Like if you got a day to kill and you want some like stim content to put in your second monitor, you don't even need to watch the video. You can just have the audio on. I would recommend going through that because he doesn't cover everything, but he covers basically all the very important bits of the Marathon trilogy that you should probably know if you want to consider yourself a real marathoner. But I'd start there. But if you don't really care about that and you just kind of want to listen to some idiot yap about Marathon Infinity takes the game series, instead of going from level after level linear storyline, it takes it into a multiversal time travel adventure where you're jumping through timelines trying to stop a fucking eldritch god from ending the universe. And one of the now there's a couple things in that are a bit different. So in Marathon lore now, a lot of people don't know this, but I believe it was one of the curators at Bungie.org, the Marathon like lore collective website, emailed Bungie asking to clarify some things, and they basically emailed back with essentially an in-game lore terminal written out with a bunch of like retcons and clarifications. These are what are referred to as the lost network packets in the lore. A lot of people consider them canon. I'm a bit hesitant on that because there are a few things that they directly retcon in the games that I don't think flow the best, but we'll see. If the Lost Network packets aren't canon, however, there is a detail that was left up to interpretation, which is that the UESC Marathon in the original trilogy never actually makes it to Tau Ceti. Or at least it never makes it, in a good condition. It's been implied that a skeleton crew got this Tau Ceti before the USC Marathon. And that is kind of where the new game could totally fit in. In all of the timelines, the UESC Marathon gets invaded by the Four before it gets to Tau Ceti. The new Marathon game could easily simply just be the Four get to Tau Ceti right as the Marathon arrives. So the Marathon just gets there. That could be the only story change. And having to go down to the planet, extract all sorts of Yara technology while fighting off a Four invasion at the same time, that could be perfect for a fucking extraction shooter. That is the easiest way to write this goddamn fucking game. It fits into the original story, you keeping all the fucking old heads happy. All the fucking boomer shooter unks are going to be just like, yeah, this shit's gas, because it's like, yeah, maybe it's Marathon for Zoomers, but I can at least enjoy my old games without having any stupid retcons or anything like that. And on top of that allows you to elaborate and have so many Easter eggs from the original Marathon games in there. You could write the fucking original Marathon Marine as basically God, similar how like the 9 are in Destiny 2, because at the end of Marathon Infinity, it's highly implied that essentially your player character, the Marathon Marine, just kind of becomes God because he can kind of just like yeet between new timelines and create new timelines and shit. So having another timeline where the Marathon Man is like a secret, like, Easter egg kind of guy who's basically God and just watching you fuck around, that's pretty fucking cool. And knowing that, especially if Durandal and all the AI are undergoing rampancy at the same time as the Marathon arrives, that would be also pretty fucking cool too. But I'm not really hopeful that they're going to do that. I think that because none of the original writers that worked on the original Marathon still work at Bungie, I'm pretty sure, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. But because of this, I think that no one really appreciates Marathon as much as I do, which fucking sucks that they're probably just going to wipe the slate clean and redo it, considering how fucking well the original Marathon was written. There's so much detail and lore there that they're probably just gonna fucking throw out the window because it's easier and because no one actually has read through the old shit and respects it enough. But hey, I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong. The original Marathon trilogy is, as I said, one of my favorite games, and I really hope that Bungie takes the time and actually, putting some fan service out there too. The game that essentially, I don't want to say got them started or popular, but it was the game that put Bungie on the map. It was the reason why Microsoft went to Bungie for Halo, because they had a lot of experience with this sort of genre. They already because Marathon revolutionized, first person shooters on the PC or on the computer, and that's one of the main reasons why they wanted to grab them for Halo, so they could revolutionize it for console as well. But I'm at this point, I think that's basically all like the important things I've hit in terms of the Marathon game. I think I'm just gonna be like rambling at this point. Um, any other thing I didn't cover? Yeah, fuck the extraction shooter. I wish they could just remaster the original trilogy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Art style's gas. The music that they've done to the ARG is really, really fucking good too. Bungie's always absolutely slapped with music, and I can say right now, if the game fucking sucks, the soundtrack is gonna be fucking amazing. So I'm not even that mad about my game being ruined, but um, yeah, we'll see. I'm not very hopeful about this. I'm feeling very pessimistic that it's gonna be good, considering that the game is essentially just, hey, this game genre makes a lot of money. We need you to make this specific game, and we need you to make it with an IP that doesn't require too much money to invest in. So we'll see how badly they gut my favorite franchise for a quick cash grab. But in the off chance it's not that, in the off chance there's a lot of effort put into it, if they hold up to the original story, if the gameplay is unique enough to actually be interesting, then I will eat my words, and I will probably be the world's big new. I'll probably be the world's biggest Marathon fan again for the new one. I will. My At this point, I'm kind of just preparing to go into the new Marathon game and just say this. This is just my headcanon is that the new Marathon game never happened. But hey, if the writing good, it fits into the old shit, I am absolutely down to enjoy the fuck out of this game. But I've been yapping for like almost 30 fucking minutes. I gotta go to bed because it's like 3:16 in the 3:17 now in the morning. Because I gotta be up in like 7 hours. And I gotta sleep this hangover off probably. So yeah. Um, we'll see how well this goes. I do hope this goes well. Ignore the dog shit Marathon gameplay in the background. I was kind of just stemming over ex cathedra, but yeah. Anyways, I hope this goes well, and I hope the gameplay reveal doesn't completely ruin my expectations for the game. Yeah, then in the words of Drama Jesus, that's about it. See ya.